Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Piofiore 1926, continuing Nicola's route. Shocker! Anyway, so, we getting Dante out of jail. And yes, Ernesto's the one who's dead, which we confirmed with that other dude who was putting his fist in the face of Raoul that we saw in like the little meanwhile story in at the end of the last part. So anyway, 2 days after we heard the good news. Yay! Not our boyfriend! Anyway, welcome back, Dante! Now if only Oliver would come back from the dead! Listen, not over it. It's good to see you again, but I'm sorry, Dante. It took far too long. And don't worry, I didn't mind my training there. And staying in those dirty cells sharpens the body and mind. And the food wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, even though it was all focaccia. I believe Julia's just about ready with the dinner. But can you stomach food right now? I'm fine. Nicholas smiled at Dante's response, urging him into the car. I mean, it was over a week, right? Let's head to my place so that I can fill you in on everything that happened while you were gone. You mean the Francesca Manor? Yes, I'll explain over dinner tonight. With that, we drove off. Fling ourselves into Dante's arms, give him a big old smooch on the cheek. Nicola's like, excuse me? And you're like, what? You're not very romancy in this. I keep cock blocking us even when it's like, can I kiss you? No! Because I'm an asshole. Nicola, Dante, and I gathered together for dinner. Where's Gil? Dante's like, wait, what? A lot happened here. Gilbert stepped out. He has a dinner meeting of his own, so I doubt he'll make it back in time. I see. Oliver would have shown up by now. He's so dead, and I hate this. Welcome back, young Dante. And now then, please have your fill at last. With a beaming smile, Julia brought out the dishes with Leo's help. Okay, Leo and Julia and Dante are all here, so if shit happens at the Foul Zone Manor, it's not as devastating because they're all here. I mean, sad for everybody else there, but they're nameless, faceless people. These are the people we care about. Like, okay, Oliver was not nameless and faceless, and he died, and I won't stand for any more of my, like, side characters dying that I love, okay? No, we're done with this. You're really gonna like the Dolce tonight, Dante. Leo's smile was brighter than ever. It was clear how Dante's safe return made such an impact on all of them. The spumante tonight is from Lombardy. Lombardy? Whatever. Like a shadow, Bartolo appeared out of nowhere to fill everyone's glasses with sparkling wine. With the feast on the way, Julia made sure no one, aside from the servers, would bother us. It was her way of giving us three privacy to talk. As we ate, Nicola began to give Dante a log of events from when he was behind bars. That the Visconti was attacked, leading to severe casualties, including Oliver. That Gil was now staying at the Francesca Manor, and that Dante should as well. Because we haven't realized it's Yang yet. Nobody's mentioned anything, you know what I mean? After dinner, we continued our conversation over coffee, because it said a man in red. Okay, but Yang has red hair, right? But also, was he red because he was covered in blood, or did he steal the Direttore's coat? Just throwing that out there, right? After dinner, we continued our conversation over coffee. And Dante, you were released because the governor died, which means that the pressure against us should ease somewhat. Of course, they still need to pin things on somebody, so I offered them a substitute. I see. Understood. Dante nodded, seeming to know what had been implied. But this also means that the fascists will nurse their grudge against us a while longer. It may have even made our situation worse. And there's a possibility the governor's stance was a personal one. With a relic here, we do still benefit from the church's protection. Are you sure about that? What do you mean? I don't think we're going to be able to hold onto our mafia status for much longer. Sooner or later, the age of the mafia will end. We need to change to survive the times. This is where fucking Dante slaps Nicola. It's the same at the church. There's no guarantee they'll continue to guard this town. Nicola's voice remained as calm as always, but he was firm about his point. I mean, everybody else is tuck and tail, right? You know what I mean? She was packing up to go to London. Frickin' Gil was going to Chicago. We gotta change too, guys. Perhaps Dante noticed as well, and a slight frown came over his face. Even so, we cannot abandon our mission. It's here in Berlin as it's always been. Then suppose the relic is gone. If there's no longer a mission to uphold, would you leave Berlin then, Dante? What are you trying to say, Nicola? It's only a hypothetical scenario, but if that did happen, what would you do? What Nicola said must have rubbed Dante the wrong way. He responded in a biting tone. I mean, he looks so mad. What you're saying makes no sense at all. I refuse to turn my back on my mission. And that's what we call being dismissive, Dante. I want you to think on it deeply. Nicola, I think you've given Dante a lot to think about, so maybe... Hypothetical or not, my answer remains the same. I will not leave this town. Ever! I tried my best to ease the tension, but they were only getting more heated by the moment. Is this where they kiss and make up? Go for it. Dante... So what you're saying is that you'll accept the demise of the family? I said no such thing. Calm down, you two. Yay, Gil's here! Gil! I didn't notice Gil's return until he actually stepped through the doorway. I'm gonna cool my head. Nicholas sighed as he got up and left to go outside. I stood up too, thinking about going after Nicola, but second thought, I decided to head somewhere else first. He's barely out of jail and physically and mentally exhausted. I may have been too hasty in bringing all this up to him now. But we don't have much time to waste. Dante's usually able to think straight, but he's in deep denial about the situation. I understand his confusion, but he's just as stubborn as he was as a kid. Doubt I can make him change his mind anytime soon. I headed into the kitchen to prepare a drink before heading to Nicola's room. Whiskey? Nicola? I called his name from outside. Would it be all right if I came in? I heard no response and waited patiently in the silent corridor. Soon, the door slowly opened and I stepped inside. I'm sorry about what happened back there. I set down the warm cup on his desk, turning to him. No need to worry. But what happened, Nicola? I wasn't like you. What do you mean by that? It felt as though you were rushing things. You usually don't push that hard if you see Dante not responding favorably. I suppose so. I've done everything I could for Dante all these years. I've tried to buy as much time as possible so the Falzone could keep on his mafia. But we're running out of time. We've already run out of options. Dante can be tough to convince of that. As Nicola looked away from me, his eyes fell upon the drink I placed on his desk. After a moment's pause, he suddenly let out a chuckle. You made hot milk for me? Oh, hot milk, Aria. Hot milk! After the heroine falls asleep, Dante inquires with Nicola about her. Rewind. And good night, Spacey. After seeing that Space had fallen fast asleep, I quietly departed the room. I encountered Dante in the hall. Did she fall asleep? Yeah, I was feeling worried after all that's happened, but she's feeling much calmer now. I think she knows that she's safe and sound here. I see. With that, Dante turned on his heel and left. My eyes narrowed as I watched him walk away. Dante's kept watch of her since childhood, and because of the special roles they inhabit. Perhaps there are other emotions that influence his dedication to the mission. And that would explain why Dante was more concerned about her than anyone else. I can't let them get too close to each other. Dante was bound to his blood. A relationship would only strengthen that curse. And that's why Nicola fucked me first. And Dante's man. Oh, see, this is definitely the man harem route. Some jealousy, love triangle. Listen, there's enough of me to go around, okay? Good God, no. In the same way that one might spoil a child, or the way a man would seduce a woman. Entwining my fingers with hers, I spoke the words I knew she wanted to hear. Her nervousness made her hesitant, but the breath of each word I spoke melted the ice, and she eventually let down her guard. He seduced me just to keep me out of Dante's hands. Like, what the hell? I knew she didn't have a bad bone in her body. Only she weren't the key maiden. I would have pushed Dante toward her much sooner. Not that I don't feel bad about taking advantage of her naivety. However, these are already in motion, and we don't have many options to consider. And there was no other choice. And that was the excuse I gave myself again and again. I know it seems childish, but I thought you might not be in the mood to drink your usual espresso. I prepared this because it was so calming when you made it for me before. Nicola's eyes narrowed as he smiled, and he took a sip of the hot milk. After a short pause, he turned to me and began to speak in a somewhat calmer tone. I understand that Dante has a mind of his own. I also understand that it's never a good idea to impose one's ideas onto someone else. Even so, there's still a part of me that still can't let go of the idea of Dante as a kid. Nicola... I hesitated for a moment. Dante will understand. About what you said earlier. I don't know if Dante will understand, but yeah, okay. About what you said earlier, I was curious about your thoughts behind it. You mentioned something about no longer having this mission. What did you mean by that? Nicola looked away from me. What I suggested was simply a possibility. Really? You're not the type of person to waste time on entertaining speculation. Nicola fell silent at my response. You know me very well, don't you? Very well. Nicola took another sip of the hot milk. It seemed to be the last he would say on the matter, but after a moment of silence, he spoke again. I do have several ideas in mind, but nothing I'm certain of just yet, which is why there's still so much more left to do. I suppose I was rushing the matter, and I regret what I said to Dante because of it. Nicola closed his eyes as he spoke honestly, as if the truth was difficult for him to confront. May I ask what's on your mind now? I'm sorry, I'm keeping you waiting, aren't I? It's all right. I know you're not the type to speak without thinking first, Nicola. Nicola smiled a little and nodded, taking his time to slowly finish the cup of hot milk. Side story! Oops, I hit the wrong button. Oh, there's two! Obviously, we do both. Later. Dante and Gilbert? Yeah. You were back early. I heard you were going to be late. Well, everything wrapped up pretty quick. Dante... What? Is it just me, or are you looking a lot manlier than before? I suppose. Thanks to their overzealous interrogation. That was so fucking random, and I love it. You look kind of manly, Dante. What the fuck, Gil? That whole entire scene was just for that. Oh, I love it. Who's Tirati? I remember. Perhaps you'll illuminate me on your latest endeavor in crushing the Berlin Mafia. It seems you've not had much success. The Visconti boss has lost his right-hand man. Ah! Stop! No! I kept hoping Oliver would come back. No! Want to clutch my tiny little freaking acrylic stand of Oliver and just cry. Oh! Oh, I was really... Oh, I feel like it was definitely... He didn't come back right away, so I kind of... Like, you know what I mean? Like, you'd find out that your house was burned down, Gil would be like, Oliver! And then, like, 10 minutes later, Oliver would be like, I finally found you, what the fuck? And he'd be like, oh, thank God! If a few days has gone by, like, Oliver's totally dead. But, like, I just keep fucking hoping. But now Teo's gotta fucking confirm, and god damn it. Oh... I'm sad. Shots for Oliver. Anyway. The Visconti boss has lost his right-hand man, and they're in no state of revival. Would you not call that a success?
Yet the Foul Zone family's leader was released. What have you to say about that?
Drinks for Oliver.
Making matters worse is the death of the casino direttore, Sebastiano Gallier.
Or Henry.
While his behavior was unpredictable at times, he was an excellent official. His family name was also of notable pedigree.
Didn't he, steal that from somebody? I feel like it wasn't really him, but anyway.
Was it the Mafia that killed him? If so, we must take proper action to punish their crime. Listen carefully, Teo. This is my last warning. I do not wish to disappoint Il Duce. If you cannot fulfill my demands, I will fulfill them myself.
What a pain. The last person I want hounding me is Tarati. My hands were tied by whatever support I was given. Raoul was arrested and the direttore killed. I didn't have many pawns left on the board. I can assume with fair certainty who the man who was single-handedly killed... I could assume with fair certainty who the man was who single-handedly killed the direttore and brought down the Visconti family. But he wasn't my ace in hand. There was no controlling that man. It's absolutely fucking Yang. I don't have much time left in this town. If that's the case... It's absolutely Yang, because who else would be like that mystery character? Come on. Because it's absolutely not Johann. Johann wouldn't make sense in, this route. You know what I mean? It's funny that Raoul made more of an appearance in other routes than this one. You know what I mean? He was barely in this. But he's the Foul Zone cousin, so it's just strange. But, he played such a bit part. Nicholas smiled a little and nodded, taking his time to slowly finish the cup of hot milk. I moved to stand beside him as I waited patiently. I hoped that he knew what that meant, that he didn't need to endure everything alone. The next day, Nicola and Dante didn't speak a word to each other after at breakfast. I can read, I swear. Not really. An uncomfortable tension hung over the room. Nicola finished his breakfast, then left the manor, saying that he had something to do. Look how sad Dante looks. Even after lunch, Dante's mood hadn't improved. In fact, he appeared more glum than ever. Sad because they were in a fight. Hey, Dante, how about stepping outside for some fresh air? He breathed a heavy sigh. I suppose I should see how the church is doing. Would you like to come? Me? I couldn't respond immediately since the reason I was here was for my own protection. You wouldn't mind some fresh air, would you? We'll have my men guarding us and we'll be driving. And don't you want to see Sister Sophia? Guilt-tripping me. I do, but... Well, alright. Can't wait for Yang to attack us and to be like, oh, what? It was Yang all along! Come on. So looking forward to this. I hurried back to my room to get ready, then Dante and I departed the manor. I looked up at the clouds covering the sun, making the sky a bit dark. Dark and rainy day. Shit's gonna go down. Dante and I arrived and opened the doors to the church. It was then that I saw... Nicola? My voice escaped me as soon as I saw his familiar back. Nicola turned around from the altar. He gave an obvious frown, perhaps taken aback by the sight of us here. What are you doing here? Dante invited me to visit the church with him. I'm surprised that you're here too, Nicola. It's the anniversary of my mother's death. I had no idea. Dante's expression tensed up, and it seemed that he was not expecting this either. The church was empty and quiet, with only the three of us inside. Unable to bear the silence any longer, Dante finally spoke. Nicola, I'm sorry about yesterday. My emotions got the better of me. It's not that I haven't thought about what you told me. It's just... Before Dante could finish, the doors to the church opened behind us. Nicola's expression changed immediately. Is it Yang? I want it to be Yang so bad. I just really want to... I want to say it in the Yang voice, but I don't know 100% unless it's Teo. It could be anyone. But anyway, everyone's here. What luck. Who is it? I turned around at the familiar voice to see the young man wearing his usual black robe. Oh, it was Teo. Damn it. Anyway, I was like, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, it could be Teo too. You know what I mean? Mother Teo, what brings you here today? I came to have a chat with someone too stubborn to do as he was told. I wasn't exactly sure what he meant by that. I responded, about the Key Maiden. What do you mean by stubborn? I feel like that would be the best answer. It's gonna be the Key Maiden. I was like, it's gonna be the Key Maiden one. Is this about the Key Maiden? Yes. I did not come to this town just for idle conversation with you. Important matters must be discussed regarding the Fell Zone, the Keepers of the Grave, the Key Maiden, and the Relic. Teo, I'll let them... Save your breath. I've waited long enough for you to relay the information, so I'll take it upon myself to do so now. What is it, Nicola? Nicola wasn't responding to me. I had never seen him look this way before. Please, Space, cover your ears. The pleading tone in his voice made me even more confused. What is it that he was hiding? No, I don't think I will. Despite Nicola's plea, Teo continued without mercy. The church has officially given orders to the Keepers of the Grave to break the seal and deliver the relic to the church. Well, we've already broken the seal, I'm just saying. The deadline is the Feast of Saints, June 29th. It was less than a month from now. I mean, we boned Nicola, so doesn't that count? Dante Falzone and the Key Maiden must perform the ritual required in order to break the seal, as commanded. I'm pretty sure it was anyone in the Falzone bloodline, right? Wasn't that the whole thing? It wasn't just Dante? However, I've heard the Key Maiden no longer possesses the right. What right? Yeah, Dante's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you two have to fuck. And we're like, whoa, what? And Nicola's like, awkward. Have I done something wrong? I mean, someone wrong. I asked in a trembling voice, fearing the response, but I swear, wasn't in the... I mean, I know that, like, Dante's supposed to be, like, he's the key holder, whatever, like, I have the lock, he has the key, well, we get that, but, like, I thought it was in one of the other routes, especially in this one, it was like, oh, Nicola or Dante, because they're of the same bloodline? Was that not right? I mean, it would make sense if it wasn't, but anyway. You and Nicola, to be precise. In order to break the seal, the Keeper of the Grave and the Key Maiden are to unite as one. You're like, I have to have sex with someone to release Jesus? Again. I mean, most people are calling out for God. They're not calling Jesus. But, I was too shocked for words. I mean, seriously. My mind already understood what he meant, but I couldn't bring myself to accept it as fact. I know, right? Every single time this comes up, it's like, I'm just gonna pretend I didn't hear this, because this is awkward. Unite as one? Me and Dante? My obvious confusion served only to irritate Teo, who spoke in an exasperated voice. Listen carefully. The Falzone blood is made to be led to the Key Maiden, all in the name of protecting the relic. That was the will of God, and yet you all made a mess of what was supposed to happen due to your utter foolishness. Teo's tirade echoed from the walls until silence fell over us once more. I'm so glad other people aren't here, because they don't need to know about my sexcapades. Dante was the first to speak. And this was not known to us at all. We didn't realize such a procedure was required to break the seal. My father passed away before I had the chance to impart on me the necessary information. And, like, so your father had a Key Maiden on the side, just in case? I'm just saying. No matter your excuses, the fault lies with your family. Your father's death, your ignorance, and your relatives' obstinacy. Your family's carelessness astounds me, as though you're unaware that the previous Key Maiden died from not fulfilling her role. Nicola glared at Teo, but there was a weakness in his eyes. So you're implying that I'm the one at fault for bringing her misfortune? Implying? It's the truth. You did not only take the Key Maiden for yourself, but the future of the Falzone as well. You've all forsaken your mission as the Keepers of the Grave and defied the will of the Church. I was going to say defiled me, but no, it's the will of the Church. So defied, sorry. Every last one of you is a traitor. I'd never heard of anything like this. You're like, whoa, 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 like anyone's going to tell me that I'm a good little church girl. They're not going to tell me I'm not allowed to have sex. Or that I have to have sex with Dante. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? I just read that, sorry. I'd never heard anything like this. Okay. Did falling in love with Nicola really mean that I defied the role I knew nothing about? Right there. I knew nothing about this, and yet I did it wrong. And now I was being called a traitor for unknowingly going against their will. Well, it cannot be helped. Theo smiled at my obvious distress. It was a scornful smile devoid of any kindness. Theo had never looked at me that way before. Nicola, too, carries the blood of the keepers. It's understandable that your instincts have somehow mistaken him as your soulmate. You've imprinted on the wrong man. A shame, seeing as you would have fallen in love with the right one had you remained with Dante. True. Wait. And Nicola, it's the same with you. Your blood betrayed you to steal her from the one who should have been rightfully bound to her. But see, it makes it sound like we should have absolutely, you know what I mean? Like, had the, you know what I mean? Anyway. Stop, Teo! I interrupted him with a yell. I didn't make a mistake, and he didn't steal me. I truly am in love with Nicola, and Nicola... Are you still making excuses? Your desires are so important that you'd abandon your role? Is that what you're saying? Hold on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. I got a delivery and I had to go pick it up. Oh, God, and the screen's like dark. Shh, pretend. Anyway. Anyway. Are you still making excuses? Your desires are so important that you'd abandon your role? Is that what you're saying? I think we already read that, but I'm just reading it again because I forgot where we were. But you're all mistaken. And this was not the outcome God wanted. That is the truth. Let me be blunt here. You were simply lured to their blood, and it could have been any one of them. And that's the love you speak of. And yet you truly believe you love him? Don't make me laugh. Your feelings are an illusion. That's not true. Nicola's the most important person to me. I love Nicola because of who he is. I wanted to scream my thoughts aloud, but somehow I couldn't. Because I didn't know how much of what he was saying was the truth. Can it really be true? My desire isn't actually real love? My thoughts twisted into a knot. I'm looking forward to seeing what penance you'll offer the church in the relic's place. And be sure to show something worthy the next time we meet. Theo spat out his last words and left us in the church. A deafening silence shrouded us as we stood frozen by what we had just heard. There was no movement, no sound, as if time had stopped. Soon, Dante broke the silence. Nicola, how long have you known about all this? Shortly after she met Theo. He came to see me, and that's when he told me everything. I've been wanting to broach the topic with you two, but... I've been very selective in what I say to you, so you're right in that I've kept things secret. I still want to hide things that would make you sad about our work. Sorry. But I am thinking of someday talking to you about something that's very important. Someday I'll think about it! Like, basically what he fucking said, like... Is that what Nicola was referring to that night? So you didn't say anything to me because... I stared at him helplessly. It pained me to see Nicola so unsure of himself now. You believe him? Do you feel that your blood's the only reason we were drawn to each other, Nicola? There's no way of knowing if what he said's actually true, and there's no way of proving otherwise. But I love you, Nicola. I love you too, which is why I couldn't accept the idea that I was defying the Foul Zone's mission. I wanted to believe that my blood and the mission had nothing to do with it, but... He wasn't answering my question. You actually believe that your blood's the only reason you love me. Okay, this hurts. This, not as much as Oliver being dead. But, like, still, this kind of fucking hurts. I quickly ran out of the church doors. I thought someone put a bag over our head for a second. Rain began to fall from the ashen clouds in the sky, or we're gonna get kidnapped. Space! I didn't know what to do. All I knew was that I couldn't bear being there any longer. This is where we get a sexy CG in the rain. I suddenly felt a strong grip on my arm. He held my shoulder and turned me around. We better get a sexy rain CG. All right, thank you. Thank you. And you know what? This is one of the good ones. Like, she doesn't look totally, there's not like anything weird where you're like, oh god, her eyes are just like fucking up the whole thing. No, she looks good. And like his little angry, it's so good. It's beautiful. Thank you. Spacey, listen to me. Nicola, the look in his eyes was different than usual. I didn't mean to imply that I doubted my feelings for you. I just wanted to tell you that I needed some time. But, to be honest, I once thought that maybe I wasn't the one you were meant to be with. Why not? I asked him in a meek voice, but he responded quickly and without hesitation. I didn't really believe the legend behind the Key Maiden and the relic, but I still kept it as a possibility in the corner of my mind. I couldn't just dismiss it as some fairy tale. If you were someone of importance to our family, then it'd be wrong of me to make you mine. Something that never left my mind the entire time I was falling in love with you. Still, I'd so desperately for you to be mine. This is like the most romantic fucking thing that's happened in this route. I could feel him holding on to me even tighter. His eyes grew more earnest by the second. I love this. It's beautiful. And we're in the rain. Dripping wet. Which is why I moved quickly, before either of us knew anything for certain. After everything was settled back then, I told you how I felt. Everything that happened that day was all my fault. I should have given us more time to make sure that we both chose each other of our own free will. You're wrong. I didn't want him to admonish himself anymore. Love you, Nicola. I loved you before you told me of your feelings. It wasn't what you said that day that made me yours. You told me how you felt. It's filled with joy. Space. Now I'm confused. It pained me to say it to him, but I didn't want to hide it. I tried my best to put my feelings into words. I love you because of your blood. Is this love real? It doesn't matter where it comes from. What matters is that you love me. And I love you too. His words poured out of him as though they had burst straight from his heart. I don't want to let you go, ever. And that's why I was afraid to tell you about what Teo said. I knew I should have brought it up to you earlier, but I just couldn't. I would have kept it a secret forever if it were possible. I didn't want you to think that you should have loved someone else. I didn't want to tell you no matter what. Well, even if it was wrong for us to love each other, I kind of love that. It's like wrong for us to love each other. You know, I'm totally into it even more now. I mean, okay, I'm just saying, like, right now, the romance and the intent. This right here. Okay, thank you. Thank you for this. This scene is making it. Like, because the rest of it is like, we don't even get romance, we don't get CGs, but right now, we're in the rain, pouring out our feelings, having a little angsty moment. Intense and passionate. I'm here for it. Anyway, even if it was wrong for us to love each other, I felt his love so fully and completely that I couldn't believe it was real. I could tell that he loved me dearly from the bottom of his heart. We were only drawn together as I was the one with you instead of Dante. He frowned as he repeated Teo's words from earlier. Ridiculous. Being together is how people fall in love. How is that so wrong? It's only natural. There's nothing wrong with our love. Falling in love at first sight isn't the only love there is. Well, it was nurtured by being together and learning about each other. That has nothing to do with it. There was no destiny that commanded it. I fell in love with you because of who you are, and I fell in love with several other people in all the other routes, so that just proves that what Taya's saying is bullshit. But, like, we can't pop in her head and be like, hey, so all those other times you fell in love with everybody else and how much you intensely love Oliver, right? Hi. Not because of blood, so. Just saying, this is fine. You know, shh. She hasn't gotten to the man harem yet, so it's okay. If my feelings go against my bloodline, even if it means I'm defying my family's mission, my feelings are still the same. Love you. Love you too, Nicola. What others wanted was beyond my control. Only my love for him felt real to me. I won't let you go. Never. Hear the strength in his voice. As he spoke, he pulled me into his arms and... Oh, hell yeah! Look at that! Oh, God, just holding her at... Yeah, that whole intense... Okay. Alright, I forgive the route for, like, kind of cock-blocking and dissing Nicola through the whole thing until this, because this is good. Here for this. He kissed me with a fervent passion. A kiss much fiercer than I had ever known. I love it. My body was cold from the rain, but my lips felt burning hot where they met his, and it is like a beautiful kiss CG too. Like, it's intense. I feel the intensity. Love you, Nicola. It didn't matter whether my love was a sin, even if it meant the future would be difficult. I never let go of my love. I wanted him to hold me like this forever. I don't want him to go to anyone else. I never felt that way before I met Nicola. Even now, he was the only one I could ever love. I knew that the place he held in my heart could never be occupied by anyone else. His kiss told me that we both felt the same way, that we only wanted each other and the rest of a man harem. What? I'm still on my man harem, okay? I love all my boys equally. Some a little bit more than others. Look, it's just because Yang's being a bastard and he killed Oliver, so he's in the doghouse right now. I'm just not forgiving you for this. And like, Nicola, you could come back in because this was intense and good, and I appreciate that. But the writers were just making you a bastard and just kind of ruining your round, just making you sad. I'm just saying. This is good, though. Okay, you can come back. It was a few days later. Nicola and I had walked through the rain that day back to the Francesca Manor. Perhaps we were in the rain longer than I remembered. I caught a cold and ended up with a high fever for a few days. This is not how rain works. Not how a fucking virus works. I'm sorry, Space. Nicola was looking after me the whole time. I woke up to see him looking at me with concern. Nicola, I love you too. Very much. Huh. His smile made me smile as well. Suddenly, he leaned forward, and as his face approached mine, I gently put a hand on his chest. No kisses for you. I don't want you to catch my cold. I don't mind. No. Oh, you can kiss my forehead, though. It'll make my burning head feel better. But once I'm recovered, I want you to kiss me a lot. Understood. It's a promise. I like that. That's cute. My hand slid down toward his. Nicola took it and held it tightly. I don't know what fate has in store for us. Perhaps it was his blood that drew him to me. Still, I knew that the love I felt for him was real. The mere touch of his hand comforted me. Email story. Bad luck. Oh no, that's not what we want in the middle of our romance, finally. Uh-oh. Others. I'm sorry I kept you waiting, but I've almost saved enough money for our wedding, and then I'll ask your parents for their blessing. This is the last time we'll need to see each other in secret. Last, I knew you'd come for me. I love you, Signorina. I love you too. Who are you? What are you? Oh, it's so fucking Yang. It's so fucking... Ah! No! Ah! Question mark. I love it. It's so fucking Yang. It has to be. Come on. If it's not, it's such a fucking letdown. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, it's Johann. Why would he be randomly killing people, and why would he kill the Visconti? And like, that has nothing to do with Orla. You know what I mean? Yang is the perfect fucking person for this to be. Like, they just had him caged up, and everyone thought he was dead, but he's not. I mean, it's perfect. God damn. It's just because I feel like they're going to disappoint me and it's going to be someone on some random other stab you, and you're like, oh, or something. You know what? Yang is the perfect fucking one. When that reveal happens, you're going to be like, fuck yeah, it's so good. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful twist. Even if you see it coming, it's perfect. Anyone else and you're like, you just ruined it because it should have been Yang. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, the mere touch of his hand comforted me. His presence beside me filled me with joy. Even though I was lying in bed with a cold, I felt terribly happy. A few days later, after getting over my cold, I was sitting with Nicola and Dante. We hadn't been together like this since that day at the church. Dante was naturally the first to speak. I've always been pleased that the two of you came to love each other. Why? Because then Nicola's obsession with you stops? I was getting a drink. Oh my god, can you hear that? That's my stomach. I'm like extremely hungry, but I'm like, I'm gonna finish this part, but my stomach is like, ah, shit. Had I known that your bond would mean the seal to the relic could no longer be broken, it would have changed nothing. I would not have forced you two to end your relationship for the sake of the family's mission. What Teo said did catch me off guard, but it will not affect my opinion of you two together. Hey, it's okay, Dante. We can bring in a third. I'm okay with that. Nicola's like, excuse me? And I'm like, I just, because I'm just saying, like, the man harem. Listen, about time I told you guys about the man harem. I have been with Gil, I've been with Orlok, I've been with Yang, and they're like, what? Yeah, I know what you're thinking. And secretly in my mind, Oliver. I know the game didn't give me a route, but Oliver's also in the man harem, so I'm just throwing it out there. Like, Orlok is not in the man harem, but I mean, I have dated him, but I'm just saying. Orlok is our friend that lives next door. We put some of our friendos, like, in the house across the street. You know what I mean? Or, like, in a little house on the property, and they hang out. Like, Orlok is really good at, like, security and, like, keeping people in line, but we don't, you know what I mean? He's not a man harem member. He's, like, a best friendo, you know what I mean? Like, we're pals, we're bros, but, you know. I mean, he can stay in the man harem, I guess, because it's, like, or, like, whatever, if he wants a little cottage out back, it's fine. Whatever he wants, but he's not, like, man harem. Not one of my boyfriends that we have cuddle parties with or anything like that. Not like that. We're just friends. We hang out. I'm just throwing it out there. This is why I would never get isekai'd into a fucking Otome game, because I'd be like, listen, this is a man harem. I'm not dealing with this one boyfriend route. We're all gonna do, and you're my rules, okay? My house, my rules. And Dante's over there like, it's my fucking house. Like, okay, in this case, it's Nicola's house, but still, I'd be like, listen! Again, this is why it doesn't happen, so. Probably good, because I would never be able to pick a route. Plus, I would fucking die so fast. If we'd played these without a guide, bad ending right off the bat. I'd choose the first wrong answer. And I'd get stabbed. No way I'd live through this shit. Anyway, Dante's words felt like a blessing. If what Teo said is true, the Falzone will not be able to deliver the relic to the church. And that would mean the church will sever ties with us, and the protection they've offered to Berlone will disappear. The Kingdom of Italy was unable to exert their full power over Berlone because of the church. It is precisely why the Berlone Mafia was able to thrive here. But without the church's backing, the government would renew their efforts against the Mafia in this town. If Dante bears a child, there's a possibility that a new key maiden will appear. And Dante's over there like, well, that's a lot of pressure! But the church has given us a deadline. I highly doubt they can be convinced until a child's born to succeed the mission. And again, Dante's like, I mean, Lord knows how many kids I have out there. I mean, I feel like Nicola would be the one with the bastard kids out there. Dante's like, what? We need to consider our options, as this will determine the future of the Falzone family. Nicola nodded in response. We'll find that option together. We'll explore every single possibility, for the sake of our survival. I'm gonna be like, okay, how do we know that I have to have sex with Dante in order for this to happen? You have the same blood, so why don't we go check? When we go check and see if the lock and key like magically open shit. I'm just saying. Maybe the Falzone is just a skeleton key, and anybody with the family blood can just like open the lock. I'm just saying. Later at dinner, Gil made an announcement. I thought he was going to say Oliver's not dead. My disappointment is immeasurable right now. I found a place where I can set up shop again, so I'll be out of your hair soon. I'd heard from Nicola that Gil seldom returned to the manor while I was sick. It's just like you to bring this up after she recovered from her cold. And after you kids finally quit your fighting. Fighting? Did we ever do such a thing? I don't recall. Seeing their cooperation and playing dumb made me giggle. Gil's broad smile slowly faded, and he turned to Nicola with seriousness. I was a wreck after my place burned to the ground. I appreciate your taking me in. Trust me when I say I'll pay you back one day. Was it after your place burned down, or was it because of Oliver? Stop it, why? I'm just kidding. He didn't say that, but I'm just throwing that in because I feel like, yeah, your place burned down, and that was sad. And you lost all your men, which was really sad. But Oliver, that's just the worst. Everything would have been tragic, and then you threw that fucking cherry on top of that shit cake. I'm just saying. I'm looking forward to it. Nicola responded with a gentle smile. Unless Oliver's just been unconscious in a hospital somewhere, because if he wasn't at the manor, you know what I mean? Like, Oliver was going to be at the manor. Like, he made a point to say it. If Oliver wasn't at the manor, he would have shown up by now. And I keep hoping. I'm trying to convince myself to just accept the reality that Oliver's dead, because you know I can't do it. But, like, Gil wouldn't have mentioned Oliver and brought that whole sob story out if that wasn't like a Oliver is dead people. At least we had a moment, not a moment of silence, we had a moment to cry over Oliver. Sad about it. Still just hoping he's not dead somewhere. Like, he's like, I was in a hospital! You didn't even, like, try to find me? Rude. You know what I mean? I also wanted to help support Gil as he rebuilt his family. Oliver's like, I told you I was going to visit my mom. In Germany. That was like a week trip. I told you, right? That would have been the funniest thing. It's like, yeah, I was going to get documents. I was going to file them, and then I was going on vacation. You didn't... Were you not listening? That would be the best, because Oliver wouldn't be dead, and then Gil would just look like an idiot. But also be like, oh, that's so cute. You cried. You thought he was dead. Like, I'm alive the whole time. On a fucking cruise or some shit. Anyway. Chapter 5. When I awoke, I was surrounded by warmth. It seemed I had fallen asleep in Nicola's arms. Oh, that's lovely. He appeared to be fast asleep, his eyelashes resting against his beautiful skin. Every detail of his face was so captivating that I couldn't help but admire it in silence. You could give us a CG so we could admire it ourselves, but like, no. Still, I should be getting up soon. When I finally tried to move, I realized that I couldn't budge an inch. Nicola. Eyes still closed, Nicola pulled me in tightly. Nicola, you're awake, aren't you? Let's just stay like this a while longer. How about until this evening? I like that idea. We can't! Even as I objected, I was wholly tempted. The sweetness of his voice made me want nothing more than to stay with him. You need to get up too, don't you? I know. Say, why don't we bathe together? You mean now? We did it with frickin' Gil. It'd be just the thing to start the day. For both of us. Fell asleep last night before we could. It'd save time if we both went in together. And then I can start work refreshed and ready. You know, you have me convinced. Well played. You will agree, won't you? My adorable Space. Oh my god, do we get a CG of this? After an eventful bath together... Excuse me? Excuse me! You've dicked us on the romance until that rain scene. That was beautiful. And then we're gonna have a bath and we're like, we got a bath scene with frickin' Gil. And then you're like, an eventful bath. And that's all I have? How dare you? How dare you, sir? If I were wearing gloves, I'd slap you in the face and demand a duel. But also, thank you for not making me read it. But at the same time, like, hello? I'm gonna need a little bit more than just eventful bath. But not so detailed that I'm like, whoa, this is embarrassing to read. I'm just saying. Somewhere in between. After an eventful bath together, well, let's just, I guess, write your own fanfic over there. We finally got dressed for the day. Who were we kidding? If there were fanfic, it would be so gay in this shit. Like, kidding. You know what I mean? We wouldn't be anywhere involved. It'd be a man harem. What are your plans for today, Nicola? I have a lunch meeting with some council members. Dante will be with me, but we should be back by dinner. Really? At the sound of my hopeful voice, Nicola looked at me apologetically. Isn't it boring to stay inside here all day? Well, since Bartolo doesn't want you to work, all you have to pass the time is reading, right? I know, it's because I don't have any hobbies. Maybe the church should have taught me a useful fucking hobby or skill aside from cooking and cleaning. Which, I mean, would be useful if I wasn't married to the mafia and their fucking butler slaps me every time I try to do any kind of cooking or cleaning. But, like, give me a hobby. I'm just saying. Anything aside from reading? I mean, like, reading is good, but can I knit? Horseback ride? I don't know, anything? Water polo? Something? Like, yes. It was true that I hadn't been outside since the day we encountered Teo at the church, but it was nothing to complain about. I can't be selfish since you and everyone else have been working so hard. Also, I'm scared to go out and Teo accost me because he's creepy. Also, Yang's out there, so probably definitely shouldn't go outside, but we don't know that yet. As much as I wish you could be free to go anywhere you want, I'll find some time so we can go out together soon. Thank you, Nicola. I'm sorry to keep you waiting all this time, and because of the work that needs to be done. Sorry to keep you waiting all this time because of the work that needs to be done. I read that in, like, sentences, but anyway. Arya. Kept in wait. The heroine confesses her love to Nicola. He contemplates the thought as he watches her sleep. Stomach. Sorry. Oh, I forgot this, CG. I don't remember it. She said that she loved me. She confessed her feelings to me. I'm sorry. But I don't want to lose you. I couldn't reciprocate in kind, but instead carefully chose which words to express. I don't know if that was supposed to be him or me saying that, but whatever. Like the whole, whatever. We both became quiet for a moment. Soon afterward, she drifted off to sleep. Looking down at her face, so innocent and defenseless, looked back on our exchange. Because I wanted to do... Oh, because I wanted to do... Do me? I'm assuming that's how it went. I can't believe you're saying that. No matter what her intentions, saying it in that way was too much of a tease. She didn't yet know what real love was. I know she didn't do it to tempt me. Whatever it was she picked up that expression, she gave it more thought before asking. The reason I wanted to kiss her is obvious. Because I love her. So overcome with feelings of love that I couldn't hold back any longer. It was then that a primal urge within me prevailed before I could stop myself. I'll never tell you the reason for it now. I've already hurt you more than you deserve. As you've approached me in earnest, so will I do the same. I won't whisper words of love or toy with you in this uncertain state. I gently touched her cheek with my finger, and she gave a slight twitch. And her gentle breathing was lovely. How unfair. I wanted to confess my feelings to you, too. Just wait a little while longer. Gently kissed Space on the forehead. I want to wake her up, but at the same time, I did. Thoughts and feelings kept contradicting themselves, but in a peculiar way. Whoopsie. There was something nice about the way it felt. I'm sorry to keep you waiting all this time because of the work that needs to be done. No need to worry at all. Ah, that's right. Well, with the time you have today, why don't you think about where you want to go on our Luna di Mea? Something I can't remember. Luna di... I don't know what that is. An Italian word for honeymoon. Ah, well, Luna di, like moon, honey. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. The Luna is moon. Got that. That's like fucking 12 languages use Luna as moon. Like, and D instead of day or whatever. Yeah, that makes sense. But I don't know how to pronounce the rest of that. So anyway, our honeymoon. Nicola, very sweet, but even though I know you're joking, it just raises my hopes and... Huh? Nicholas seemed to have no clue what I meant, so I tried my best to explain myself. Well, you've been calling me your wife quite often recently. If someone overheard you, they might misunderstand. Not that I wouldn't be happy, but... I see. We're not married yet. Perhaps I should call you my fiancé then. Should you really? Huh? Oh, right. Sorry, Space. Realize I've done things out of order. Yeah, we're supposed to get engaged before we get married instead of married, and now we're back to, like, single. So much has happened since then that I haven't even been able to get you a ring. We're like, what now? I thought you were joking. Thank God this is me hinting. Fuck up and settle down already. Anyway. Ace? Since then? Wait a minute. Yeah, the only CG we've really... I'm not the only, but the first one. That one that just popped right in. Will you be my bride? So, what you said that morning... You were serious? Nicola looked profoundly shocked. As he slowly began to understand... He pressed my cheeks from both sides with his hands and moved his face closer to mine. Listen to the words that I'm gonna say, girl! Dear Space. You thought my proposal back then was a joke? Well... Sweet Space. Look at me. Oh, we're gonna die. Just kidding. Look into my eyes and tell me. I looked up breathlessly, heart in my throat. His face was so close to mine. I wondered if the hint of anger I saw in his expression was just my imagination. No, he's angry! He looks angry, and he's like, so fucking pissed you thought I was joking. A little mad about it. You said it so out of the blue that... I'm so sorry, Nicola! Unable to bear it any longer, I broke and expressed a heartfelt apology. I suppose it couldn't be helped. The entire situation was my fault, after all. I meant what I said, but it wasn't my intention for it to sound so cavalier. Regretted it ever since. Nicola. He looked at me in earnest. I am indeed serious. I want to marry you, and I was planning on formally asking for your hand once I procured the ring. I want to be with you forever, Nicola. I was happy to hear you say it back then, and I'm beyond happy to hear it again now. And then let's continue this once I've given you your ring. Nicola gave me a gentle kiss on the forehead. I love the forehead. Alright, okay, so I know that I bitched that there's not a lot of romance, but every time he kisses me on the forehead, that's a little sprinkle of romance, so I'll take it. I love those, but it's like, I still need more from you, I'm just saying. I'll be in the living room. I'll come with... Not yet. I don't want anyone else to see that precious face of yours right now. I turned to the mirror and saw that my cheeks were flushed pink with happiness. I think we're a little under time, because I had to stop and then redo it, but, we're roughly around time. I'm going to stop here just because it's a good place, and I'm not 100% sure, but anyway. I will see you guys. I'm also starving, so anyway, I'll see you next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up, and subscribe to see more.